Hiya, and welcome back to Password, the game that teaches us that the best method to truly piss everyone in the group off is to invite someone that everyone else doesn't like. That's exactly what Cody did. I'm pretty sure his name is Cody. It hasn't even been a week, and I already forgot his name. It's Dave. Dave. I thought his name was Cody. Anyways, let's just hop right in. Ah, shit. I forgot. Who are we sitting next to? Monty Gator? I don't fucking know. Bear Boy? Hiya. Oh wait, Freddy Fazbear? Let me list all of them real quick. Roswell, which one was he? He was the boar. Piglet from Winnie the Pooh. Dragon Tales. It's almost time for Dragon Tales. Tyson, Woof Woof Bark Bark. Or Hoss. The Lion King. Alright, guess we're sitting next to Dean. Wandering over to Dean with my plate, he got up and pulled the chair out for me, a broad smile on his face. Say it with me? As I had intended to anyway, I sat down, placing my plate before Dean pushed my chair in slightly and sat back down. So, what do I owe the pleasure, handsome? I rolled my eyes, a smile forming. Already with the flirting? Hey, it's not the sort of dinner date I had in mind, but I'll take what I can get. Yeah, you know the deal, though. I get it. Not actively looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. Whatever happens, happens. To Dean's credit, he'd been trying his best to ask me out on a proper date for a while now, changing things up every now and again. Sometimes coffee, other times dinner, but ultimately they'd all fall apart for one thing or another. In Dean's opinion, unless the date was perfect, it didn't count despite us having hung out a few times just as friends. Well, true, but what? Don't get me wrong, I'm flattered, really, just, you still come on too strong sometimes. I'm not that bad, am I? Sometimes, but I don't know, the attention is sorta nice, who knows? We're here for a month, so anything could happen. Exactly right. Speaking of, I could show you plenty of attention in my room. Tonight. I laughed. Dean knew how to push my buttons, and I had gotten used to knowing when he was legitimately flirting versus when he was just having fun. For not being a friend from school, he integrated himself into the group easily enough. If he ever got himself under control and we had a decent shot at it, he'd probably make a decent boyfriend. While I think about it, tell me how you're finding the mansion. It's pretty big, huh?
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
We're fucked. And this is Dean. The little bit that I know about Dean, do not say anything that could, just be realized wrong. I realized my mistake the moment I finished talking. You know what else is big? I swear, if you say what's surrounding the place. Okay, that one's completely different. I thought he was going to talk about his penis. Maybe we're safe after all. Yeah, maybe we're safe after all. Oh, I could have sworn you're going to say. Dean started to wriggle his eyebrows, a sure sign that he was playing around and knew exactly what I'd meant. But yeah, I had a look, and it ain't pretty to dance. Probably could hack for a day and get nowhere. Dean skewered a piece of meat on his plate and threw it into his mouth, chewing quickly before talking again. It's only a guess. No way anyone could really see that far, but trust me, I know would. I groaned, shaking my head and eating the food I'd gathered from the other end of the table. Sneaking a look at what Dean had grabbed, he leaned heavily on meats and root vegetables, smothered in enough gravy to almost be a stew. I still can't get... I still can't get over what Dean had said. I genuinely thought that he was going to make a joke about his penis. I genuinely thought he was going to do that, but he didn't. He didn't. He said the woods surrounding the place. What the fuck? He flashed to me a smile as he ate, focusing on finishing his meal before he spoke again. I tried to keep pace, and even with Dean having that much more than me, we finished around the same time. Ready for dessert? More food already? What, you didn't save room? How do you know that we're even getting dessert? I can hope, right? What I wouldn't go for a good slice of pie right about now. Oh, what kind? Nothing beats a good apple and rhubarb pie. Custard, ice cream, cream, whatever on top suits me fine. Pie, huh? Oh, hiya. Mom used to make them all the time. Nothing beats the taste of home, right? I nodded slowly, wondering what I was going to get. It wasn't long before the door to the kitchen swung open with the butler emerging from a small tray of what appeared to be desserts. Dessert is served, gentlemen. However, this particular spread was mostly Master Orlando's contribution to the meal, having tried to make something each of particularly like to ease your stay into here. I looked across to Orlando, who went bright red and flashed a solid bright smile. The butler wheeled the tray around the table, placing a dessert in front of each of us, ending with me. Oh, thank you, What is it, Master Dave? I don't think I got your name. Oh, I'm no one of import. Pay it no mind. Is it Jeeves? Pardon? Your name. What about Alfred? The butler eyed me carefully before speaking clearly and plainly. You may call me Benson. It's a pleasure to meet you all. He bowed slightly before gently placing the dessert intended for me on the table. If that will be all, gentlemen, I hope you enjoy your dessert and enjoy the rest of your evening. Feel free to leave your plates where they are, and I will collect them later. I looked at the dessert placed in front of me and cooed softly. When I looked over to Dean, he looked as happy as could be. A generous slice of pie with an almost perfect scoop of ice cream on top. Oh, hey! Pie! Orlando must know me pretty well, huh? I'll have to thank him later. I again looked at what had been set in front of me, giving it a sniff. Mine smells like coffee and chocolate, so it's tiramisu, I think. Tiramisu? That fancy coffee dessert? Is it really that fancy? Looks it to me. Want to try some of my pie? Oh, okay. Dean slid his plate over to me so I could use my spoon to take a small bit. Come on, you can take more than that, it's alright. Took a little more and put it into my mouth. It was still hot, but the ice cream cooled it enough that it was just a pleasant heat. It was tart but sweet, the crust flaky and buttery. Oh, wow. Good, huh? Dean took a spoonful for himself and put it in his mouth. His eyes bulged immediately, looking down at the plate and sliding it back over to himself. A smile formed on his face, clearly enjoying it, but maybe he was just regretting me letting me take a bite. Okay, so far, in who is going to become my next hyperfixation, because let's face it, one of these boys in this game is going to become my hyperfixation for the next, like, month. And so far, Dean is winning. It's been narrowed down to either Dean or Orlando. How about you try some of mine, Dean? You sure? Only fair, right? Dean took a small part of mine using his own spoon. Tasting it, the smile returned to his face, although different. Hey, not bad. Did you want more? No, if you offer me any more, I might just end up eating everything there. But thank you, though. He put an arm over the back of my chair and continued to eat his pie, breaking off pieces with the spoon until he was down to using both hands to study the plate and scrape up what was left. For me, my tiramisu was creamy and chocolatey, but with those familiar coffee tones that hit my nose whenever I moved my spoon through the cream. I swear to God... I swear to God, did he say, it's so creamy? I swear to God. He didn't. The cream. I would have cried. I would have legitimately cried. The scent of coffee always made me nostalgic. Maybe because of how often I smelled it around the family home. It was a safe place, or at least something that I associated with safety. But before I knew it, I'd finished, sighing out content, if a little sleepy despite there being coffee involved. With everyone well fed, we filed out into the foyer, ready to turn in for the night. Well, I'm wait. Time to turn in. Haven't eaten that well in a long time. It was good. Very good. Better than what I've been eating. Really? That was restaurant quality, wasn't it? I'd say better. That perfect mix of restaurant quality and homely charm. I could feel Orlando tense up next to me. He took pride in his cooking, so I wasn't sure if he was taking this as a challenge or an overall comment on his capacity as a cook. So, everyone turning in? I think so. Wait, I read that wrong. So, everyone turning in? I think so. I'm with Dean on this one. Dean shuffled up next to me and put an arm on my shoulder, flashing me a particular brand of grin. With me, are you? Knowing where I'm going? Back off, bear. I blinked, having heard that tone before. It was angry, possessive, and while rarely directed at me, it didn't normally mean anything good. It must have caught Dean off guard as he pulled his arm back and stepped away soon after. I heard Sal say something to Dean, arms folded across his chest while Dean looked sheepish yet apologetic. But as for Orlando, he'd stepped forward to confront Tyson. You should mind your tone. You should mind your tone, Wolf. What? You looking to pick a fight over how I talk? If that was talking, I'd hate to have a civil conversation with you. Hiya. The two started snarling at one another, and I looked between them, not sure of how to defuse the situation. As Ty took a step towards Orlando, Sal stepped over from his talk with Dean and grabbed Ty under the arms, lifting him just off the ground so he couldn't do anything more. Haas pulled Orlando aside to keep them properly separated. This might not be the best time, but I wanted to pitch something to everyone. Somehow, it was enough to defuse the situation that Roswell seemed to have room to speak freely. So, we're here for a month, right? I figure why not make a game of it while we're here? What sort of game? Well, Haas and I found a gaming room on the same floor as the bedroom, so I was thinking something that DVDs or video games couldn't quite offer, something we can do as a group or in teams. Oh, but what did you have in mind? I haven't gotten that far. There were grumbles from some of the others before I asked if he had any ideas, and the fire reignited in Roswell's eyes. Yeah, something I'll need to ask Benson first, but it has the potential to be a lot of fun. I like fun. Besides, playing only video games for the month seems, I don't know. Like a waste of a mansion? I agree. Not bad to have another option, I suppose. Outside of maybe finding a spot to do some fishing, I don't have any ideas. Sounds good to me. If you need help, just give me a heads up. Same here. But, for now, I'm going to bed. Next two of us. Night, everyone. Dean and Haas wandered up the stairs and out of sight. Night, Dave. Yeah, sleep well. See you at breakfast? Then Roswell and Orlando followed suit. Ty shrugged Sal off, grumbling. He was let go and kicked to the ground, annoyed. Tyson didn't really say much else, shooting Sal an unimpressed look before heading upstairs. Okay, I genuinely don't know. They are making it so hard to choose who to hyperfixate over. They were making it so hard to. Because on one hand, bark bark woof woof with Tyson, Sal makes me a little uncomfortable. Orlando is the gay Gordon Ramsay. That's how I'm going to describe him. Dean, I just like Dean's energy. I don't know what it is, but it's oddly comforting. Tyson didn't really say much else, shooting Sal an unimpressed look before heading upstairs. And Haas just actually makes me uncomfortable. As for Sal, he nodded once and gave me a small wave before heading upstairs like all the others before him. I stood there, taking another look around the grand entry, the furnishings, the stairs leading up to the first floor. If I were royalty, I'd feel the part in the castle easily. But still, something wasn't quite right. Something foreboding seemed to be lingering just beyond view. Something that was making me feel uneasy in the pit of my stomach. The gay Gordon Ramsay. Yeah, that's how I'm going to describe Orlando. The gay Gordon Ramsay. I felt the hair on the back of my neck stand on end, and I spun to see if anyone was there. If I hadn't watched Ty go upstairs on his own, I'd have assumed he was playing another trick on me. Still, I was alone as far as I could see. No one's there, right? Silence. Mr. Benson? More silence. Maybe it was just tiredness. After all, there wasn't anything sinister here, right? We could trust Roswell's capacity to not invite us to a murder mansion for a vacation, right? We are going to fucking die. Nothing could have beat the side of my bed by the time I got up to my room. As soon as I lay down and my head hit the pillow, I was out like a light. Day 2. Path unknown. I must have forgotten to set an alarm, for when I woke up I had no idea what time it was. Still, I was thankful that my room had an adjoining bathroom, a comfort that I was somewhat familiar with given what my bedroom was like at home. My muscles felt sore, maybe just from being in an unfamiliar bed, but given I had my own shower, what better time to test it out? I didn't have one before bed, and there's something to be said about bathing regularly. Okay. I did not expect that. I did not fucking expect that. I did not fucking expect that. Once I was under the water, I realized how gross I felt. Maybe it was just from sitting in a bus for hours, then wandering around an old house. Thankfully, I wasn't sharing a bed with anyone, but if that was going to happen, I guess the incentive to have a shower beforehand would have been there. Once I was dressed, I headed downstairs to breakfast, assuming everyone else was already there. Sure enough, I was the last to arrive. Much like dinner, there were trays out with typical breakfast fixings. Toast. I also... Fucking Eric. Ugh. You all think the pizza box stresses me the fuck out. No. It wasn't the it isn't just the fucking pizza box. There was also Eric. Eric from Sileo Tales. Sileo Tales of a New Dawn just fucked me up. It just fucked me up. Because, like, from Eric just skinny dipping, which I didn't even know he was, and then he popped out, bam, and I'm just like, oh shit, oh fuck, so I freaked the fuck out and ended stream. And then I quickly booted it back up. I freaked the fuck out because, like, we got flashed. Much like dinner, there were a hotel buffet style of scaled down a little bit for just the 7 of us. Yeah, I already read all that. Good morning. Morning, Roswell. I sat down with my breakfast, looking at what seemed to be distracting him. First thing I noticed was his notepad, open to a blank page with his pen poised to write something. Seemed like he was about to start writing before I noticed what was keeping him from doing so. His gaze pointed out to two distinct groups sitting at the table. At the far end of the table were Ty and Sal, with Sal almost playing as a barrier between Tyson and the rest of us sitting at the other group of the other end of the table. They weren't making conversation with one another, although Sal seemed much more eager to eat than Ty. Down our end of the table, Dean was making small talk with Orlando and Haas, but without fail, each of them would look over to the other two. Things are still tender from last night? A little bit, I think. No punches being thrown, but still. Was it really that bad? Roswell shot me a look as if expecting me to know the answer. Hopefully this blows over soon. It's going to make an awkward month if they keep going at it the whole time. I nodded slowly, scratching the back of my head. We had been here for one night, and if we were here for a whole month, and fighting was going to get old fast. It'll probably be fine. There's enough space to keep them separate. Probably enough space to let us all go do our own thing without stepping on any toes. I'm gonna turn down the music, even though I love it. I love the music. Where does that leave you, though? Me? Well, I was going to finalize this thing and talk to Benson about stuff. Maybe look into what's around the mansion beyond the trees. What, in the forest? You were sleeping for most of the trip, but I know there's a river out there for if we wanted to go swimming or fishing. Fishing maybe, but we have the pool for swimming. Okay, what about an old shack? What, like a tool shed? Exciting. More like a cabin, you dummy. How do you even know about something like that anyway? Roswell seemed taken aback, looking thoughtful, if confused for a moment before replying. I think it was my parents? It might have been Benson, I don't know. Huh. Tyson got up suddenly, seemingly done with his meal, and left. All eyes were on him as he did, but he didn't seem to care. As for Sal, he moved up to the rest of the group, but remained as stoic as ever. Orlando, for the most part, seemed the most relieved with Ty's absence, but Dean was the first to speak. Well, I don't know what you guys are planning on today, but I want to check out that greenhouse out back, see what's growing in there. I'll go swim, maybe, or the gym downstairs. How's the activity shaping up, Roswell? Any chance to talk to Benson about it yet? Not yet. I hope to have something sorted out soon, though. If I see him before you do, I'll mention what you want to see him. Oh, that's okay. I was just going to wait here until he came to clean up after breakfast. Works for me. Gives me a chance to go for a walk and check out the rest of the place. Make that two of us. I'll see you guys around. So we're all splitting up? Seems like it. See everyone at mealtime. Once everyone else had left, that just left Roswell and I. He still had his pen poised to write, but his page was still empty. Need a hand? Oh, it's alright. You just get some coffee in you before you go feral. Hey, I'm not that bad without coffee. You're pretty bad. Fine, fine. I ate and drank in relative silence, the prospect of me getting coffee seemingly an inspiration for a novel by how much Roswell was suddenly jotting down. When I was done, I left the dining room to explore. Is this the route selection? Okay, so, blub blub. Everybody dance now. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. Oh my god, I have eyes. Museum. Oh my god, look at these plants, it's so pretty. Bank. Oh, scavenger hunt is where we choose the routes. Okay.
I will be forever grateful if you do the dragon route first.
I don't know, Maestro. I think it's probably going to end up as a vote. Though not gonna lie, part of me does also want to do the dragon route first. I don't know. Okay, do we want to go Blub Blub? Is everyone fine with Blub Blub? You would not check out the vault first? Well, the vault is scary. The vault is scary, and I'm worried that, like, someone's going to jump out and be all like, yeah, I'm gonna punch you, and we'll be like, ah, no, please don't punch me. We'll go down to the vault, and we'll just be like trying to put in a password. Oh, I just got the name of the game. We'll try to put in a password, and then someone will jump out and just shiv us. Try to give us the Batman's parents treatment, and we'll be like, no, don't do that. Don't turn me into the back of a t-shirt. Don't turn me into a t-shirt. They'll be like, how the fuck? Because they'll put my name on a... Because they'll put my face on a fucking t-shirt if you stab me. Be like, ah, shit, ah, fuck, bro. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna shiv you. Be like, that's exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to turn me into a hashtag. Pool first. Okay, let's go Blub Blub. I wandered outside in search of the pool. I didn't have to look very hard, as the smell of chlorine and the sounds of splashing guided me towards a large fenced-off area at one end of the backyard. Sal was on the other side of the fence, swimming laps. While I looked for a way in, he came over to wait by the side of the pool. I didn't know how I missed the gate twice on my search, but once I'd found it, I wandered over to Sal. Oh! Oh! Took you long enough. Hey! The gate was hard to find. There's a few. I watched as Sal then proceeded to point out each of the gates in turn. I felt stupid for not seeing them sooner, but it was easy to see them now that I knew what they looked like. Oh! Neat. They're not that hard to spot if you know what you're looking for. I guess it's just one of those things that I haven't had much exposure to. You know, not having a pool at home and all. Do you not know how to swim? Nah, I know how to swim. I've been to the beach, and parents had me take lessons when I was a kid. The corners of Sal's mouth went up in a jeering smile. Lessons. Cute. Taking a breath in, he dove back into the pool and disappeared under the water. His silhouette moved as he swam from one end of the pool and back without coming up for air once. When he came back, I could see him staring at me from under the water, expression focused if uncertain. With him swimming around so much, I wondered if I should have brought my own swimming trunks with how tempting it was looking. Soon enough, he continued his laps, leaving me to look around. There wasn't much to the pool itself aside from it being large. There were storage lockers here, most of which were open, shy of two that seemed to be closed and locked. Aside for that, some spare pool gear, flippers, standard stuff. All of it was in its own locker behind a wire fence. I was back in front of the lockers checking things out before I realized Sal was standing behind me. Ah! Almost effortlessly, he picked me up by the waist and shifted me aside to get to the locker I had been standing in front of. Pulling a key out of his Speedo, he opened up one of the lockers. You have your own locker already? I needed a place to store my towel. Oh, right, that makes sense. You can take a different one. Keys are just sticking out if you ever decide to join me. Despite retrieving a towel, he didn't retrieve his clothes, instead looking off somewhere and leaving his locker open. I looked inside, back to Sal, then to the locker again. Showers are this way. Okay, neat. Did you see they have flippers? Flippers, Sal! You don't need flippers if you can swim. But they're fun! They make you go fast! Sal shook his head, sighing. He closed the door to his locker and led the way over to what appeared to be a stall using a wooden privacy screen, similar to what you'd see at the beach. Can you hold my towel? Okay, sure, easy. Sal disappeared behind the screen and threw his towel over the top of the booth. I caught it, admitting how plush it was to the touch, wondering if this was the same towel from one of the bathrooms inside. I heard the water start to run and I called over to Sal. How's the water today? Good? Yes. His voice came out clear enough, so I guess he could hear me fine enough. And you were just doing laps? There was a grunt of affirmation before I heard the water turn off. I grimaced, wondering if I was just a poor conversationalist. That said, Sal has always sort of been this way as far as interactions. I realized that despite hearing the water turn off, Sal hadn't said anything. What should we do? I highly doubt Sal is going to be first, though. Choices. Don't worry too much about it, Maestro. Really, don't worry too much about it. There's probably going to be a poll to decide who we go with first. You got punched by ads. Oh no! But a decision. You know what? Screw the towel. Ah, shit. Yeetable towel. Orlando. This bitch empty. Yeet. In the same way that it had been thrown over the first time, I returned it the same way. The sound of it being snatched out of the air preceded the sound of hurry drying. Thank you. Sal stepped out. He didn't usually smile, but he stepped past, patting me on the shoulder as we headed over to the deck chairs. Good weather for relaxing. Oh yeah, I don't think they were forecasting any rain today, at least. Even if it rained, it'd be fine. I like the rain. I remember the day we met well. It'd been raining and I noticed that Sal had been standing outside in it for a solid hour. At first I thought he'd just forgotten his umbrella while he was waiting for the bus home. Nope, just really enjoyed the rain. So I think I'm going to go check out other parts of the house. I don't think it's the first time I've said a name in, like, a person's name in stream. Yeah. Okay. I could have sworn that there was a tinge of sadness in his voice, but he made no effort to stop me going. Maybe he was lonely, but Sal hadn't struck me as someone wanting company all that often, if at all. Remember, the gate is over there. Laughing nervously, I backed away and left Sal to his own devices. Bye! It was hard enough to get a read on him, even on a good day. But that's just the kind of person he was. Where to check? Number 15, Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Frame Grilled Taste with perfect toppers. I rule this day. Lettuce, mayo, pickle, ketchup. It's okay if I don't want that Impossible or bacon. Whopper every Whopper, my way, Whopper, my way. The back room's next. Whopper, 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 Junior, Double, Triple, Whopper, Flame Grilled Taste with perfect. Okay. That sound is stuck in my head. Yeah, but no, where to next? Conservatory or rec room? Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure we have to do all of them. It didn't take long wandering around the first floor to find the games room. It was one of the bigger rooms on the floor by far. The moment I stepped in, I almost jumped from the sudden cheering coming from Orlando standing by a machine against the wall. High score! Woo! As I wandered closer, I saw that he was hunched over a pinball machine. A look of focus and joy spread across his face as he watched the ball move about the inside of the machine. While he finished his game, I had a look around the room. There was a bar in the corner, a few tables set up. Fucking email. and shy of the massive beanbag stacked neatly on the far wall, I would have assumed it was a casino. Pretty cool, huh? I looked across to Orlando, who spoke while he played with his eyes still tracking the ball. It's very, Hoth said ritzy, but he's been saying that about the place in general, really. Now I can't unsee it. Orlando stepped back from the machine, having finished his game for the time being. He's not wrong, though. When I walked in, I thought I was about to get carded for wandering into a private casino. He then pointed out some more machines nearby against the wall that seemed to just be slot machines. Just as well, I don't have my ID on me. But you're not underage, neither of us are anymore. Don't they need to do that anyway, just to be sure? Maybe, but even then, you've got your wallet on you, right? The next thing I saw was Orlando patting down his pockets frantically. I must have left it in my room. Then you could have just gone to your room to get it, right? Oh, I suppose that's true. Better tell Rothwell, because he's going to get carded for Thur. Assuming they let him in at all. I somehow think a casino wouldn't want Rothwell anywhere near the card tables. Between you forgetting your ID and Rothwell not being allowed in, I'm sure you two would much rather go do something else anyway. Probably. The pair of them made quite the duo, which was probably why they ended up having a lot of fun running the school's anime club, as unpopular as it was at the start of the year. So, have you just been playing pinball, or have you tried anything else in here? Mostly pinball. Didn't want to try setting the other things up just yet. What other thing? There's a whole bunch of gaming systems hooked up to a TV or projector sort of thing over there. I couldn't figure out how to turn it on, and when there's something I can pick up and play with, why bother? That, I guess. There are card tables too, as I'm sure you've seen. More for poker, I think, but that's more Rothwell's kind of thing. My sort of cards have hollow foil and set numbers. Oh yeah, from the booster packs, then you make the decks and win. Well, I prefer more to collect. Tried the competitive thing once, but, well, you were there for that. At the convention, right? I don't think that many played card games. You were there to look at the other things anyway. Still, it was a nice adventure we took, huh? You just liked going in costumes as that one game that was really hard. Hey, it was a bit of fun, but I don't think many people really recognize the character. It was still fun, though. Maybe next time Rothwell will come. At the very least, it's good to know there's something else here I can do instead of hanging around in the kitchen every day. Given how you made everyone's desserts last night, it's no surprise you spend a lot of time in the kitchen. Well, I tried what I had to work with. Tyson and Hoth were the hard ones. You did like yours, though, right? Yeah, it had coffee, so I was happy. Now that I think about it... What? Are you open to requests? Depends. On what? The freezer is completely stockpiled with stuff, so we're fine for food for a long while, it seems. Same for the pantry, aside for basic sun dries. So long as it's within the house and not overly complex, there shouldn't be any problems. So, what about if I wanted pie? Pie, huh? Sir, pie is great. Okay. Sure, pie is great. Pie should be easy enough. What flavor, though? I scratched my chin thinking about it. Oh, 3 of those are good pies. Apple pie, cherry pie, pumpkin pie. Classic dessert. Breakfast. Thanksgiving. Fuck. I agree, cherry is goated. Cherry is goated. I remember once I had cherry pie for breakfast. It was amazing. You know what? Let's do this easy. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe. If he hollers, let him go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. My mother said to pick the very best one, and you will be it. Now let's go with apple. Apple pie, that would work. I mean, I've got a recipe for that memorized, so that shouldn't be a problem. No kidding, if it was the same one you made for Dean, then you must have had one hell of a recipe memorized. It was great. Oh, stop it, yo. Honestly, you two sharing a dessert was adorable. It was. Yes! The sipping! It was real! Oh, I don't know about that. Hey, you were the one that told me that someone was interested in you. I also remember how you seemed pretty giddy about it, too. I laughed, feeling my face go red under my fur. I scratched the back of my head. Did you need help making it, or... No, I got it covered. The kitchen has a great oven. No need to breathe on anything this time. I don't think you needed to breathe on anything last time, though. If you have fire breath, why not try it? Imagine how handy it'd be to know what you can and can't use it for. But cooking? Grandpa seemed to think it was a neat idea to try. You know, make the most of what skills you have. I mean, it was still a little burnt in places. And undercooked in others. Not my proudest moment. For as much of a failing that experiment was, Orlando was typically on the mark with his more experimental pieces. He'd make the call to use his fire breath when the oven was playing up and, well, still gotta keep at it, right? I'm in it just to make the things, and pie is just pie. Pie is pie? Yep. And something I'll also need to get started on later, so I'm going to get some more exploring done before I get stuck in the kitchen. Oh, you don't need to do it right away, honest. Don't worry, I want to make you pie, I really do. Yeah. Oh, well, so I'll see you at dinner, I think. Just don't go sleeping through it if you go for a nap. I won't. Orlando bounded past me and out the door, leaving me alone in the room. It seemed like a fun place, but without anyone to share with, there was little reason to stay. There was every chance I'd find myself back in here later, so for now I left. To the gym. I found myself heading down to the basement. Even as I walked down, I could hear and smell someone down here. Groans and grunts, the clanging of metal. It was only a matter of following the sounds until I came across another room down here, well lit and lined with training equipment. 56. 57. From the looks of things, Tyson was doing weights, laying on his back and pushing himself without assistance. I could have sworn it was dangerous to do stuff like this solo, but he seemed to be managing. Not that I really knew, despite having a part-time job in a gym for a while. 58. He was struggling now, arms shaking as he was doing the reps. I'd stayed near the entrance. I'd hate to see him accidentally drop it over his chest. I don't think I'd be much help getting it off him. 59. Then with a growl, he put the weight back on its stand, flopping over the bench, panting hard, tongue lolling out the side of his mouth. Working hard? What? Dave! How long have you been standing there anyway? Not long. What do you want? I was just checking in, saw you were doing weights, and, well, was. Probably not going to anymore. He rubbed his arms, looking gingerly over at the machine. Might have pushed it a little hard this time. Added on too much weight or something. Arms are killing me already. Still, I love that feeling you get after working out. The way my muscles feel. Don't do it as often as I want, but it makes me feel strong, yeah? I mean, we could probably find a way to get you a gym membership, if you wanted at least. Ugh, pass. I can make do at home. You, on the other hand, could do with some exercise, pup. Hey, I'm not that, I poke my belly, grimacing. I'm just fluffy, yeah. Besides, last time I worked out, I don't think I was doing something right. Ended up hurting all over for a couple days after. I don't remember you asking me for advice. Oh, no, I just went down to the park and kind of just wanted and tried to copy what they were doing. I knew as soon as I said it that Ty was getting the wrong idea. Watching other guys, huh? Not like that. Just a copy. Yeah, sure you were. I grumbled despite Ty thoroughly enjoying the implications of what I'd said. So, checked in enough yet? If all you're doing is lifting weights, I guess so. With the amount of noise you were making, it could have been anything. Didn't realize I was so loud. Guess I should be more careful in the future. Or, you know, close the door to the gym. Maybe I like to make a little noise. Besides, you could only hear me once you were down here, right? Well, yeah, I guess. That and smell you. Tyson's gaze narrowed. My nose twitched as I tilted my head back slowly with a frown, uncertain of what he was looking at me like that for. You can smell me, huh? Yeah? And? My nose twitched again as I thought over my reply. On one hand, I don't know, but on the other hand, I don't want to be mean. Which one? I'm actually with you there, Amethyst. I guess we're going with this. What? I tilted my head again, confused. What do you mean? Oh, I cut that out. You like how I smell? Yeah? What's wrong with that? Just don't go telling people that. They might get the wrong idea. You know, I think you're all kinds of fucked for being into that shit. Slowly the realization dawned on me, my eyes widening in a panic as I tried to explain myself. Wait! No, that's not what I meant! Oh, so you're not into that sort of stuff, huh? I grumbled as Ty messed with my fur atop my head aggressively enough to shake me around slightly. Jerk! Brat. Your nose might be good, but it's going to get you into trouble one day, still. Huh? You like how I smell? Am I getting a real answer this time? Oh, well, I guess it's just that it's familiar. If I can smell you, I know you're nearby, and that's, I don't know, something I'm used to? Huh. For whatever the reason, it seemed to make Tyson think, his eyes drawn away from me with his eyebrows furrowed. For a few moments of silence, I figured I should change topics. So what? Are you just going to keep exercising, or are you done for the day? Haven't decided yet. Probably best that I stay out of the way of everyone else. We just don't get on. Don't think we ever will, right? I can't blame Ty for feeling this way. After all, for a lot of us, he'd been a common link given the schools he'd been to in the past. Didn't help that in nearly all of them, he was kicked out for bad behavior. His reputation as a bully preceded him. Not to mention how he behaved last night. But somehow we'd ended up the unlikely friends given the happenstance, really. Well, what? I guess I'll leave you to it. I'm gonna keep exploring. Alright. See ya, pup. I wandered out of the gym and headed back upstairs, leaving Tyson to figure out what he wanted to do on his own. To the conservatory. I wandered all the way upstairs to where I'd run into Roswell and Haas the day before. There's a quarter in my pocket. Why the fuck? Oh, there's two. There's 2 quarters in my pocket. How the fuck did 2 quarters end up in my pocket? As I entered the room, I saw Haas looking around, seemingly minding his own business. Well, hey! Hey! So what brings you up here? Just looking around. What, not looking to spend some quality time with me instead? Oh, you know, if you just wanted some quality time with Senpai, you just had to ask. That's not, come on, Dave, relax a little. That's what I'm doing after all. In here? Why not? Conservatories are great, like greenhouses for people. He is doing a permanent ooh-woo face, and I am here for it. So, you can be outside without being outside? Yeah, there's more to it than that. How often do you get to be in a conservatory anyway? Outside that board game, never? Even in a board game, I don't think it counts. You're talking about the one where you solved the murder of the butler, right? Was it even the butler that was killed? You know, it's been so long since I've last played it, I don't remember. Thinking back, ever since I played it, I wonder what a conservatory actually was. I guess now I know. Generally, it's just a posh sitting room. I mean, it seems kind of redundant when you've got a place as big, not to mention the backyard being as big as it is. Right, you'd use this room for what exactly? Reading? Good read, yeah. But wouldn't that be impossible in Nightfell? With all the windows, I mean. Good thing they have lights then, I guess. But wouldn't people be able to see in? Normally, yeah, but who's going to be looking in? The forest around the mansion means that the closest neighbor would need a telescope at best. I guess you're right. I kinda like it though. I'll probably do my morning stretches in here as opposed to my bedroom. Stretches? You mean yoga or Pilates? I don't know what either of those are. Well, I know what yoga is, but I don't know what Pilates is. I keep hearing about Pilates. Like, I would just be like watching something and they'll be like, oh my god, I need to do my Pilates. And it's like, what the fuck are Pilates? What the fuck are Pilates? seriously, what the fuck is Pilates? But he seems like he'd do Pilates, even though I have no clue what the fuck they are. Is he just a contrarian? Let's try Pilates. That's it. Oh shit, that was the correct answer. Woo! Do I win a prize? Not this time, not unless getting an invitation to join me counts. But why would I do that? Well, I do stretches every morning just to keep my body healthy. It's not about flexibility or building mass, just making sure I can do whatever's needed on set. He puffed out his chest proudly. Okay, maestro. Puffed out his chest proudly, hands on his hips. Besides, so's the backup plan. What's that? Could always pole dance with the amount of core strength I've got built up. Wait, really? Yeah, you gotta start somewhere. You'd be surprised what people are willing to do to get a shot at the big screen. You can't be serious, are you? What? That people do stuff like that to get famous? That, and if you'd seriously consider pole dancing. I don't think I'd ever come to that. I'm confident I can land a row without resorting to that anyway. Haas stretched, looking me over and shooting a happy smile. You know, you should join me sometime, honestly. What, really? Sure, it couldn't hurt. Why, worried that I'd be getting you up at dawn? A little. Alright, then I'll hold off getting up at dawn if I'm dragging you along. Normally I'm up real early, but I'm willing to make an exception. Maybe Sal will be a better choice. He's up early too. He is, huh? Might join him if he's doing something like a morning jog. I want to reconsider if he's going to the pool. Why's that? That chlorine in this fur? You know the damage that could do? Oh, but wouldn't a shower help with that? Obviously, but drying off first, only to take a shower later seems a bit double-handling, don't you think? Oh no, there's a shower at the pool itself, so you could just shower there. No, that's alright then. I might go see what morning routine he's got planned out later then. Haas looked off to the side, stretching again. Still, despite being on holiday, gotta keep that practice up just in case. So if you're ever interested in helping me with lines, just let me know. Sure, but what happens now? I'll probably stick around here and lounge about. Check the acoustics of the room, maybe get a cat nap in. Yourself? I don't really know yet. Probably keep wandering for a bit longer. Well, in that case, I guess I'll see you later. I nodded to Haas before heading back down, figuring I'll continue looking around elsewhere. Museum. I found myself on the top floor again, following the sound of someone humming. The room was large, reminiscent of a study on steroids, or perhaps a trophy room, or even a library that had more than just books. Roswell was already wandering around, running his hands over some of the books, looking them over before he noticed me.
Oh, Dave, I didn't see you there.
Roswell wandered over, happy as could be.
This place is great. They have books on nearly anything you could ask for.
Really?
Really? Even a few on ghosts and summoning demons. I haven't had a proper look, but it's still an interesting collection, that's for sure.
You're telling me, what sort of place is books like that? Roswell snickered to himself, shaking his head.
No ordinary mansion, that's for sure.
You didn't really sell our souls for this, right? Like, that was only to mess with Orlando?
I promise, nothing like that.
Roswell unwrapped a piece of candy and threw it into his mouth, smiling to himself.
I had a look, and those books look sketchy at best, almost like made as a joke. It wouldn't surprise me if some of these were made just to mess with people. Still, what? If they're just to mess with people, they can't be that dangerous, could they? I can guarantee that there's a very, very low chance of anyone just picking up one of these books and doing any real harm. Unless they decide to bludgeon you with it from behind.
Roswell? Not funny.
No one's barbaric enough to commit murder with one of these books. They aren't nearly heavy enough.
I followed as Roswell pointed out some books on the top shelf of one of the bookcases.
Only really heavy ones are those encyclopedias up there. It'd be a lot of work to get them down just to hit someone over the head with them. You could do better with, like, a knife or something.
Once again, I felt uneasy about how casually Roswell was talking about how one could off someone else with what was in this room. Roswell must have noticed as he hurriedly dug around in his pocket for another piece of saltwater taffy and handed it out to me.
Sorry, too much detail?
Just maybe a little.
Don't worry, these sorts of things are all so low in probability of happening you have a better chance of winning the lottery.
My attention went to a suit of armor in the corner, a large sword resting underneath in its hands on the pommel. What about something like that? As I pointed it out, Roswell followed my gaze and nodded slowly.
It's possible?
I mean, borrowing that sword seems easier than climbing a ladder to get a heavy book, right? The way Roswell seemed to thoroughly consider the option was almost worrying. His brow was furrowed and he scratched his chin before flashing me a polite smile.
Well, maybe. Have you ever used a sword before? Ones like those can be kinda weighty, not to mention you'd have a hard time prying it away from the armor.
What makes you say that?
Well, because it's just a display. Chances are that sword is tied down or to something, or in a way attached to stop it from falling over. Normally, someone wearing the armor would be pushing down, to keep it standing upright like that.
I guess that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, Roswell, anything else deadly in the room I should know about? Roswell laughed at my attempt to lighten the mood, and I found myself smiling too.
Deadly? No. Although if you're ever looking for information or even just neat things to look at, this is the room. I want to keep exploring this room. Still plenty of cool things to check out. What about you?
I guess I'll keep looking around the mansion. I haven't really thought that far ahead.
Well, if you get bored, you'll know where to find me.
Giving me a quick salute, Roswell wandered away, disappearing behind a bookcase while I turned around and left the room. To the greenhouse. With the Dean. Dean mentioned this morning that he was going to check out the greenhouse. I had been to a proper greenhouse before, so this was the perfect time to check it out. Dean, you in here? Yeah, just a sec. Well, hey, good looking. Come to see me especially? Must be my lucky day. Sorta. You said you were checking the greenhouse out? Figured I'd come check it out too. Gene gesture. Did I just call him Gene? I fucking called him Gene. Dean gestured to the pots and plants around him, wearing his trademark friendly smile. What do you think? It seems neat, I guess. I inhaled deep through my nose, enjoying how fresh and earthy everything smelled. Only Nate? Okay, so it's pretty good. I like how it smells in here. You and your nose. But yeah, I suppose you're right about that. It's very fresh in here, although maybe don't go poking holes in the bags of fertilizer unless you want a different sort of smell salting you. I chuckled, shooting him a toothy grin. So you've been checking things out here since breakfast? Pretty much. There's a lot more out here than I assumed there would be. But I guess if someone's living here, it makes sense there'd be something. Pity we're only here for a month. Otherwise, pitch in and grow something too. There's potting soil, trowels, a cabinet with various seeds, everything you could need to get to work. If we were staying for longer, I'd probably try... We're gonna stop for the ad for a little bit. Yeah, I'm just like going based on what I see. Alrighty. If we were staying for longer, I'd probably try growing something. Shame we're only here for a month. Oh yeah? What'd you grow? Vegetables? Well... Dean shuffled uncomfortably, avoiding my gaze. He snuck a look at me, flashing a warm if fleeting smile before replying. I mean, I do like fresh vegetables, but flowers probably. Flowers? When I questioned him, Dean shuffled on the spot. He looked uncomfortable and muttered something under his breath. Something I couldn't quite catch. The next thing I knew, he looked me in the eye, his tone serious. Can I be honest? Sure. He sighed out, looking away again. There's a great deal of things I like to grow. Trees, flowers, vegetables, hell, growing a tree to cut it down for lumber to make something for the house. Or flowers to bring home to my beloved. The moment he said it, I felt uncomfortable. Knowing where his intentions were, I knew what he wanted, and I wanted to reciprocate. I genuinely did. But there were things that made that complicated. If things had gone a little differently, I probably would have been jumping up and down at the prospect of getting flowers. Dean. Well, that'd be a best case scenario, of course. You never know, we might end up getting to have a proper date one of these days, and you'd be set. Make a clean getaway with all these fresh grown goods from your personal farmer. Dean's laughter seemed genuine, but there was still that tinge of sadness that followed. There are other things growing in here, so I can take care of them instead of growing something from a seed. Much faster and honestly probably for the best. Just in case there's a setup or something. Don't want to go messing with that just in case. Yeah, probably a good idea. Don't want to get caught growing weed or something. You know, I probably could if I tried hard enough, and if there was something that already started in there. Here, although don't know much about it. Again, he laughed, and I felt the urge to ask if he was serious or not. So, what are you doing now, Dave? Gonna keep looking around? Huh? What makes you ask that? You seem to like wandering about. I'm pretty set here for the time being, so you hanging around here would be nice, but you're gonna get bored. I chuckled nervously. While the place seemed neat, he was right. I had no idea about most of the stuff in here, and I just didn't have the same passion for it Dean had. You've got me there, so I guess I'll see you later? Suits me. You stay out of trouble now. Dean wandered off behind some other plants, humming to himself as he did so. As for me, I headed back inside the mansion to figure out my next move. To the vault. Somehow at some point I found myself looking at a familiar looking door. Something about the room seemed weird, almost as if a haze lingered in the room. But as much as it felt off, my body dragged me across to the keypad next to the door. Maybe I should just try putting in something given I'm here. Ah! Alright, let's... I don't know any passwords. Maybe it's one of the characters' names. No, it's not Roswell. Is it Sussy Baka Uwu? Well, I'm out of ideas. Anyone have anything? Oh, hiya, Pack. I'm just gonna... Control-C. Control-V. I can't paste it. I can't paste it, so I'm just gonna hit enter. For the longest time, I just stood there, waiting. Finger poised over the keypad, sitting next to the door, but nothing came to mind. Not even a single thing to even try inputting. Time seemed to slip away from me. I wasn't sure how long I ended up standing there, but I could hear the dinner bell ringing. I trudged up towards the dining hall in a daze, and as it turned out, I was the last one to arrive. Hey, Dave. Must have sat down next to Roswell when I entered. It was the closest chair to the door by far. Not only that, but the food was already on the table. How long was I on autopilot? You look wrecked. Are you alright? Yeah, I think so. My head felt cloudy, fuzzy as if I was still waking up. Well, if you're sure... I remember nodding with my awareness slowly returning. Maybe I'm just tired. I know I was downstairs before and I guess I just zoned out. Downstairs? In the gym? No, in that other room, the one with the big door. Oh yeah, that's the vault. I know the one you're talking about. The vault? Right, because of how the door looks. Even has a keypad next to it wanting a password, so it's bound to have something important behind it. Tried a bunch of words though. Nothing, not even password. All it did was just beep at me. Why's that? I didn't even know that was possible. Oh, I thought maybe it was like a computer, so Roswell looked away quickly, eyes bulging and looking worried. Wait. Is that the password to your computer, Roswell? No. Don't be silly. Just, please maybe forget that. Please. Roswell turned to the food in front of him and began eating. I did much the same, but I found myself thinking about what I'd seen so far. The pool looked inviting enough. At the very least, Sal seemed to enjoy it, not to mention the fact that it seemed equipped with everything just to hang out shy of a minibar. The gaming room seemed to be fun, although I was worried as to how Orlando perceived it. It wasn't really a casino, right? The gym is something I'm not sure I'll use, at least not to the extent Ty is likely going to use it. Good to know we had a place to work off some of the food we were eating while we stayed here. If I wanted a place to relax, the conservatory seemed like a good place to go. I'd have to fight Haas for this space, depending if he was using it for rehearsals, though. There was the museum, full of stuff that, honestly, I didn't expect from a place like this. Still, probably more things there for me to find if I looked hard enough. The greenhouse was cool. It was almost like a private jungle, but given Dean's interest in the place, there was every likelihood he'd use the seclusion to, well, he'd make the most of it, especially if we were the only ones in there. Once again, I zoned out, the rest of dinner being a blur. I vaguely remember everyone saying goodnight, and I think I replied. Being alone in the dining room put me on edge. I don't know why, but maybe it was just the isolation. As my vision focused, I realized that I wasn't the only one in the room after all. Oh. The otter gave me an appraising stare, his gaze drilling into me in a mix of curiosity and concern. Are you well? You seem distressed. My mouth felt dry suddenly, and I quickly looked around. Yeah, I'm fine. Another long stretch of silence passed. Despite being on the opposite side of the table, it felt he were right next to me, and not in a good way. Just fine. Tired, maybe. I don't know. Then may I suggest you return to your room and retire for the night? The others have all done the same, and the mansion is far too large to be wandering around by oneself in the dead of night. Is it dangerous? There was no response shy of his polite smile, but in a way that smile made me tense up more, making me feel more uneasy. Oh, I wouldn't say dangerous, Master Dave. No danger at all so long as everyone's in their bed. My gaze narrowed, confused. How he phrased that seemed off. Make it sound like they're not all in their beds. Again, that polite smile returned. His voice was level and calm. At the very least, you aren't. Benson... I hear something. There it is again. Benson turned briskly on heel and slowly wandered away. The moment he was out of sight, a chill ran down my spine. I made my way out of there as fast as my legs would take me until I was in my room. The moment I got on the other side of the door and closed it, I started to pace. I was just imagining things. It was all in my head, whatever it was that I was feeling. This was just an unfamiliar house and I hadn't settled in yet. Despite reinforcing this in my head, I yelped when I heard a knocking on my door. I froze, staring at the door, unnerved by Benson's behavior downstairs. Gulping, I croaked out, "Come in." Oh god, Dean looks pissed. Dean eased open the door and closed it shut behind him. Eyes trained on me and he looked irritated. Hey, Dean, You were out of it at dinner. What's wrong? Nothing at all. Dean clicked his tongue before shaking his head. No, I know something's up. I've known you long enough to learn that much, Dave. Spill it. I shuffled uneasily on the spot, avoiding Dean's gaze. Does something feel off about this place to you? About Benson? The question seemed to take Dean aback. He blinked and seemed to think it over. While he was thinking, I continued. He's the only staff. We've seen no one else. Dean crossed the room and placed his hand on my shoulders, waiting until I looked at him proper. Are you okay? Yeah, I think so. Why? Just rattled? Yeah. Dean kneaded my shoulders, massaging the tension I'd been holding in my neck. Maybe he wanted to do more or say something, but his eyes held fast on the spot on the floor nearby. Alright, well, if you want to talk, I'm just down the hall. I flashed him a wry smile, seeing if I could lighten the mood. Just talk. He stopped suddenly, looking down at me before meeting my smile with one of his own. Then that smile grew into one of Dean's signature grins. Just talk, huh? Well, I suppose if talking is enough, we could do something else with our mouths. I laughed, and a lot of my worries fell away right there and then. He leaned down and gave me a quick hug before holding me gently at arm's length. Everything will be fine, Dave. But if it ever bothers you, you know where I'll be. Just, you know how I am, but don't think for a second that I'm not looking out for you, alright? Promise. With another nod, he was gone. A faint fluttering in my chest made me feel warm and comforted. With my mind at ease, fatigue hit me hard and I turned in for the night. Day 3. We're going to leave off here tonight. I'm wanting to get into a thing where we do a day a night. Like one day a night. One day a stream. I'm wanting to get into that, and I've tried to do that in the past, but I've always failed. Anyways. Stay safe, have a good night, and I will see you all tomorrow.